to order. Please stand for the pledge. I'm sorry. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we have a seat, I would like to have a moment of silence. Ada Eisenfeld, former mayor, she was the city commissioner for 8 years, and she was the mayor from 1981 to 1985, and the first female mayor for the city. So I'd like to have a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey.
Here.
Fournier.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Crop. Menser.
Here.
Voorhees.
Here.
Motion to excuse Mayor Crop. Support.
Number 4, announcements, acknowledgements.
You need to take a vote.
Oh, sorry. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Now, number 4, announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. Anybody have anything? Okay, tonight we have the presentation of the local treasure awards, and I would like to ask our people to come up to the microphone. First one is Vito Strolis. This is the 10th year that the city of Mount Clemens has been giving an award to a resident or business person who has contributed to the betterment of the city. And it's for people that have been here for years and years and years. And Mr. Strolis is a perfect example of that. I'll read his right here. It says, "The City of Mount Clemens Local Treasure Award on behalf of the mayor and the city commission. Award Vito Strolis the annual Local Treasure Award for exemplary positive contributions to the city of Mount Clemens. Through his actions, Mr. Strolis has created a positive and lasting legacy for all members of our community to appreciate and be extremely proud of." Here is your award.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone in the City Commission. This is very humbling. This marks our 75th year of doing business in Mount Clemens, and it'll be 43 years that I've been the owner at Release come June 1st. Most of you probably don't know, but Mr. Champion and I went to high school together, graduated together both at Mount Clemens High. So this is
the class clown.
that's correct. So this is truly wonderful. Thank you. And what better honor than have my good friend Ross and myself here at the same time. And even though we're both being recognized tonight, every community has volunteers, neighbors that look out for neighbors, volunteers on every block and every street. So even though I'm going to accept this, Ross Champion, I want to thank everybody in the community that makes a difference, whether it's on their street, to their neighbor, or whoever. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Vito, you should know that you were nominated by 5 different people.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Nominated by 5 different people.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, this one is for Mr. Champion. Again, the City of Mount Clemens Local Treasure Award to Ross Champion is presented for exemplary positive contributions to the City of Mount Clemens. Through his actions, Mr. Champion has created a positive and lasting legacy for all members of our community to appreciate and be extremely proud of. So on behalf of the mayor and the city commission, this is presented to you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Wow, I'm just thrilled to be here, and I want to thank you all. Julie is recuperating from eye surgery today, so she's been told she can't come out for a whole day, and she would really have wanted to be here, but thank you so much for this award. It means a lot to me. I never knew that I would I was going to be a clown. I went up to Michigan State to be a landscaper, which I did do. And took a quick 10-week clown course in the evenings, and my clown life started there. When I got home, I thought, wouldn't it be neat to be at the Farm City Week? So I asked a few people, and they said, well, you have to come to the committee meeting and see if you can get in. And I, okay. It wasn't the commission, but it was the committee. So I went and I said, and they told me to talk to the head person there, and we got down to the point where they couldn't afford me for the 3 days. So I said, how about 1 day? And he said, well, I think we can do that. And that 1 day turned into the 3 days, because I was there for the 3 days, and turned into the first job I had with the city at pretty much every festival we've had since then. I'm very proud to be here. I'm proud to be with Vito as a schoolmate. We had a lot of good times back then. I feel like I've grown up. This is pretty neat. Thank you so much.
Ross, could you take your mask off and I'll go take a picture?
Yes, absolutely.
And away from the,
Yes.
Vito
Step
said
in
he
front of the
wanted
mic.
move the mic,
Yeah.
move the mic. There you go. Okay.
We're back at school again.
All righty. One more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just briefly, I do have to correct my good friend Ross. When we were sophomores in high school, he shows up, and at that time, he was one of the few guys that grow a beard. So we're gonna know this story.
Wait a minute, are you telling stories?
Now I'm gonna let you get to business. So we had, this side had growth of a beard, couple inches, and the other side had none, was shaved. So I said, Ross, what are you doing? He goes, well, half the people like it and half don't. True story, remember that? So he was clowning around way before he was born. Thank you very much again.
That's funny. I can see him doing that too.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Campbell, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Support.
Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Number 6, public participation. This is where we invite residents to come and express their concerns. Please abide by the 3-minute rule and give your name and address.
My name is Earl Stilson, 24,400 Joy. Talking tonight about the letter that came around, about the city council wants to know an update on the vacant buildings and property in the city of Mount Clemens, which would be great. But why are you listing my property, Stilson Field on North River Road and Mount Clemens Marine on Michigan Street, which is occupied? It needs a little housekeeping, but it's still occupied. Any comments on that?
We don't comment on
I want to go publish, I mean,
The administration will get back.
Yeah, the administration will get back to you on that.
I don't know, I mean, you talk about downtown business district and people, the city's in bad shape for a lot of empty buildings. So, it'd be nice if you're a little bit nicer to the business people.
Ryan Theory, 62 Rosebud. Just a question to follow up from last meeting. Was there going to be another workshop on the marijuana before the reading, or did we decide that?
I don't think there's a date yet.
Okay, okay. And then, just a few things that I just want to share with you, maybe that might help the city or not, but a lot of towns, I go to probably 50 different municipalities, A lot of them have, to help with the process, make sure that applicants have a pre-qualification from the state. That way they don't have to wait for building, because ultimately the state's gonna do the background check, the financial check, and, approve them or not approve them. Also a neat thing, I don't know how you guys are gonna do things, but a lot of municipalities have a public hearing where actually the presentation of the actual marijuana, establishment or whatever it's gonna be is viewed publicly. And they actually give an opportunity for, the citizens, to comment. I think it's kind of a good idea because marijuana should work with the city. And in one particular case, it was in Gaylord, that the name of the place was called Rise. Well, it just so happened that one of the school's programs to stay off drugs was called Rise. So at that meeting and during this presentation, it kind of really helped the community with this marijuana dispensary, solve the problem. And the dispensary just changed their name, so good things can come of it. Pretty much that's it. I know we were talking about probably a 1,500 to 500 foot rule or 1,000 square foot rule. I did take a liberty to kind of survey the area. I do have a survey in it. Seems like 1,000 foot buffer, gives the ability for 4 or 5, dispensaries, and I can share that, with the city council. This is something, just an example, because I care about the city. This is another thing that a city's doing that, they just, whether it's worth it or not, they just make every applicant, sign it that they're not gonna sue the city. Indemnifies them. I don't know, I can pass it along, maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Patrick, anybody on?
Well, Patrick.
Patrick Abajuda, 16557 Howard Drive, Macomb. I'm here tonight to speak on some of the things I've noticed, a few violations to ordinances that we have, but a lot of it's been taking place over at the Gibraltar site with no recourse yet from the city, not just over the past couple of weeks, but the past few years. As the original application for medical marijuana had different owners, was approved for 5 Class C grow licenses, a provision center, and a processing permit that was to occupy all 250,000 square feet. So the entity ownership has changed, the plans have changed several times, owners or operators have changed, and other businesses have occupied the building, and now apparently there are plans for recreational beverages to be manufactured there with the city having knowledge of it, or some people from the city having knowledge of it, as if they were automatically issued a recreational permit to do so. 250,000 square feet down to 8,000 square feet for medical use. This is according to articles and the people that were quoted in those articles. I heard words of fraud, favoritism, collusions, all been used sitting here during these commission meetings, and we have recorded records of it, and yet no investigation has been done. Commissioners have asked for timelines, and none have been presented to the public yet or answered by the city staff. All my questions and concerns have been ignored because they were told to. But enough is enough. The city's digging a hole as deep as Mount Everest is tall. Something needs to be done. The snow is melting and the poop's starting to show.
Thank you. Okay, number 7, administrative responses to issues and questions.
None.
Okay. Number 8, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the City Commission work session and regular City Commission meeting minutes for February 7th, 2022.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes. General business, item A, approve WOW franchise agreement. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the Wide Open West Michigan LLC, a Delaware corporation, doing business as WOW Internet Cable Phone Uniform Video Service Local Franchise Agreement, and authorize the mayor to execute the same.
Support.
Are there any questions?
You have before you the franchise agreement, which has been reviewed by the city attorney. He notes that it continues the statutorily mandated 5% of gross revenue franchise fee and 1% of gross revenue PEG fee, and is for a 10-year term.
Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Menzer?
I just wondered, Mr. Murray, in this 10-year agreement, I didn't see anything about, 10 years is an awful long time, and I didn't see anything about a graduated percentage of revenue. I just kind of wondered about that. You know,
Well,
5 years
it's-
in, we go from
yeah.
5 to 6, or...
No, it's all governed by the state statute. The state statute provides that a local franchise agreement shall be for a period of 10 years from the date it's issued. Before the expiration of the initial franchise agreement or any renewals, the provider may apply for an additional 10-year renewal under this subsection. It's mandated by the state to be 10 years. The 5% is set forth in the statute, and it provides that the annual franchise fee shall be equal to the franchise fee paid by the largest cable provider in the community. And in our case, that is Comcast, and they are paying 5%. WOW paid 5% during the first agreement, and it shall not exceed 5%, is what the statute provides. So they are paying the maximum. The PEG fee is determined the same way, and the maximum on the PEG fee is 2%, but our largest provider, Comcast, pays 1%, so we are at 1%.
Okay.
It's all in the statute. There's really hardly any wiggle room. The statute was drafted at the behest of the cable companies, and it pretty well
Caters to them?
ties the hands of all the municipalities.
Yeah.
So the revenue for the city goes up as WOW charges more?
Well, they're at the max, the 5%.
5% of what
As
they charge,
Comcast
though,
charges
of their
more.
revenue.
But if their revenues increase, or
Yeah, we
Ours
get
would.
more, but still, yes.
though what's actually tended to be happening is an awful lot of people are turning off cable.
This is true. This is true.
But it still amounts, from what the finance director told me, that between the three companies, AT&T, Comcast, and WOW, it amounts to about $250,000 a year.
The amount of money that you get will depend on how many subscribers you have to both Comcast, WOW, or AT&T. Right now, those numbers are actually up. We're actually getting more cable subscribers over the last 2 years. I just got a report from Michigan ATO saying that cable subscribers are actually up. So you can expect more revenue coming in the upcoming year. So as subscribers fluctuate, that money will fluctuate. So it's not a standard. That number can go up and down every single year depending on how many people turn on cable or cut cable.
Patrick, do you know what our revenue is for the year?
It's about $250,000.
Yeah,
That's what I was, between the three of them.
Three of them.
AT&T, WOW, and Comcast.
Yeah, yeah. It's about
But it's actually
80.
going up incrementally a little bit. It had been on a downward swing with the rise of streaming, but it's actually, I said, the last 2 years, cable subscribers are actually going up, not just in Michigan, but across the country.
As they continue to raise the prices, more people like myself.
It's becoming an option again.
Yes,
People just go back to it
have decided
because
to
streaming services,
choose
yeah.
YouTube TV.
Which was one of their appeals at the beginning, but now since they're all raising the rates, cable's becoming in line again, so. We're seeing a return to subscribers, that's a good thing for the city. I just want to clear that, because when you look at the numbers, it's not going to be a static amount, it's going to fluctuate. But we are, like Mike said, we're at the max that we can charge on this contract.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Menzer,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Reluctantly, yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Dempsey? Yes.
General business, agenda item B, approve resolution supporting 911 telephone surcharge. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution in support of the 42-cent 9/11 surcharge as presented.
Support.
Mr. Johnson?
Chief Shipman is supposed to be on the line, so Greg? Greg, you're muted.
I can hear you, Greg.
Can you? Okay. At least somebody can.
As long as we're waiting for Greg, is this an increase?
This is a new fee. It's, as I understand it, it's being levied in every county in the state except Macomb right now.
So right now, we don't,
We don't pay that at all right now.
Dispatch.
The city pays for the dispatch.
Right, which was the residents' money.
This will bring in some money
Proud of it.
directly to support the 9/11 dispatch center, which would reduce what we have to pay.
It won't reduce what we have to pay.
is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying? It's going
That-
to reduce our dispatch contract?
That was
I don't
my
think so.
understanding.
I'm here.
Right now, Macomb County, we're the only county in Michigan that's not paying that?
That's what I've been told.
We've seen this before.
This is the second time, well,
Yeah.
the first time in 2018, it went to the county for a vote, and they turned it down. Second time, it never made the complete
This is
county
the cable
group. They
working.
stopped it, I think, at the,
Yeah, I don't know, they
their
can,
group
they
levels or
apparently
something.
can't hear you.
Is this going around all the
Yeah, I think
in the county?
Well, we got him.
am I there?
Yeah, you're on loud and clear now, Greg.
Okay.
Okay.
You were cutting in and out a little bit. If there's some questions I can answer, I'd be glad to help.
Why don't you start with just a summary of it, Greg?
Okay, so a short summary. Back in 1986, Public Act 32 came about, which formulated all sorts of rules and regulations for a 911 system, one of which the state collects some fees to support the main base or the main web of the 911 system, meaning they pay for all the provider services such as AT&T and their several level because it's statewide. And then it also pays for the network pretty much to get to your dispatch centers. And then there's also provision in there that allowed local units of government, specifically from Macomb County, the Board of Commissioners, to institute another charge to supplement their costs associated with 911, which is 42 cents is the max that they can charge without going to a vote of the people. So Macomb County, as of now, is the only county in the state of Michigan that has not enacted an additional charge for those services. So this did come up before. It was a few years ago, and they voted it down. So they want to bring it back for a vote again, because there's going to be many upgrades that are needed, not only just the additional costs that go with 911, but they want to go over to a fiber optic system. So the equipment upgrades for that are going to be pretty high. And just the ongoing cost of dispatch, which dispatch and 911 are synonymous. When you think of one, you have to think of the other. They're integrated. From the time the call comes in until even the point that somebody like the fire department is dispatched, on our mobile data computers, we're actually getting those 911 notes as they're being typed by the dispatcher. So 911 plays a role all the way from phone call, pretty much till an emergency responder is on scene. And you can even get updates above and beyond that through the 911 caller. So that's what the charge would be for. And again, we are the only county in the state that doesn't have some sort of surcharge. Some places have a surcharge, some have a millage, some have a combination of both.
Commissioner Menzer?
And so, Chief Shipman, this is a resolution simply of support by this Mount Clemens City Commission, and will this then go to a vote of the people at some point?
This won't have to because they're allowed to go up to 42 cents without a vote of the people. This just needs a vote of the County Board of Commissioners.
Okay, thank you.
So are they asking all of the government entities within Macomb County to go through this now?
Well, they've asked everybody to either give a letter of support or a resolution in support of it.
And the 42 cents is charged how?
That is charged for any phone line. So if you have a phone line connected to something, so it's 42 cents a phone per month, up to 10 devices. Then after that, it's one charge for every additional 10 devices.
So for cell phones?
Yes.
Okay.
And landline.
And landlines.
I think it comes
Correct.
to like $5 a year for one
Okay.
in that, but it's forever. And it raises over 3 million, according to what we have here.
Yeah.
And the only questions I have, which the county received 1.1, let's see, 171 million. Am I correct with the care package? That's what I read that they received. I would think the infrastructure would fall under the use of that money for care, under the CARE Act. And I was wondering why the county would not take some of that money to do some of the upgrades, since 911 is such a crucial service for the residents. And I've not been able to get an answer yet. I had a call in, but I haven't received a phone call back. I'd like to know that. Plus, the state is sitting on billions of dollars from the federal government, and they are not sharing that back to the residents. And I would think then it could be shared more for infrastructure and things like this, which is important. And I know that $5 per phone line is not a lot per year. And some people will be $25 because they have so many lines, whatever. I know it's not a lot, but in this day of inflation, I think it's a lot to go for. I would like to see the county let us know why they would not use some of their care money, is what I would like to hear first. And I know this is only a support, the county has to vote on it, but by sending resolutions, it's giving a sign saying that we as a community support it. You know, so that's just my personal opinion.
It would be good to have, that's where the disconnect does come, right, with the county and what they're doing with everything. And these little charges add up after a while. Anybody just has to look at their WOW bill or their Comcast bill or their cell phone bill to know there's a charge for the
Everything.
usage, and then there's all kinds of stuff. So it does add up, and it does make a difference, especially when you're on a fixed income. Do you think?
The only thing that I would like to add, I guess my fear would be, this is what I talked with Don about, is that these upgrades are coming because every piece of electronic equipment has an end date. And if you've ever been to Comtech, it's quite a facility. You know, they have 20 consolettes, and all of this equipment is coming due for replacement in 2 years. This fiber optic 911 is coming due. They're supposed to have 59 dispatchers. They're only keeping 54 right now because of budget situations. So my fear is that even though it's the user that really gets the benefit of 911, like the fire department is, and the police department, we're just a branch of it, we're a service of it, is that these costs are going to be passed on to the 13 communities that Comtech serves, or the 9 dispatch centers that are in Macomb County. And I just don't feel like we should have to pay for that, because we're not really the users of the system. And my fear is that's where we're going to end up, because somebody's going to have to absorb these costs sooner or later. And because we haven't, as a county, enabled any of these taxes since 1986 when they could have, we've collected nothing since then, where many other communities, some of them are up over $3 a phone line now.
Commissioner Dempsey?
Question. Didn't we, and I'm not sure, I'm asking a question, in the last contract with the Sheriff's Department for the services, wasn't there an increase for some fiber optic a couple of years ago that we, that was put into our contract that we had to pay more? And it was due to some fiber optic upgrades?
There was a charge for running, I don't forget the exact details, but there was a charge for running some fiber optics to the fire department. Chief Shipman probably knows more about it than I do.
Yeah, they ran fiber optic to City Hall, and then they ran it from City Hall to the fire department, which we needed that at the fire department to run our New World system, which is what Comtech uses for dispatch service. But we also gained, high-speed fiber optic service for the City Hall and the fire department for computers and phone system. And again, I know these things are coming, and I agree, because every time we turn around, we're getting a tax somewhere. I looked at my phone bill. I wasn't even sure what I was getting charged. So I pay 60 cents a line. And again, so my fear is that they're just going to pass these charges down onto the 13 communities that Comtech serves, or we look countywide. I think there's 9 dispatch centers. And you start talking about putting this on to 9 dispatch centers versus, 885,000 people. That's just way too much for us to absorb, and we shouldn't have to do it. But we're kind of stuck because we don't have too many alternatives for dispatch either.
So someone in Macomb County brought this up and asked us to all review it and consider this again?
Yes, that's correct. They asked. So obviously the executive put some stuff out. I actually contacted Angela Elsey, who's the head of Comtech, because I wanted her opinion on this, and she was pretty well versed on it. And in full support of it.
The proponents of this measure, obviously, are the ones that are requesting resolutions be adopted by the various municipalities, which they will then present to the county board of commissioners prior to them voting on this item.
And say they voted in, even if we didn't do anything, if they voted in, it's going to be imposed, right? It'll go.
Well, I think probably by gathering a number of resolutions and support, it puts more pressure on them to vote a certain way.
But if they do vote it in, then we're in anyway.
We can't do anything. It's the county voting.
So
If they voted, if they voted in, can they go above the 42%?
No, that would have to go to a vote of the people then.
That's the maximum.
That's why they maxed it at 42 cents.
Kind of convenient for them to do that, isn't it?
So
and they went right to the max. So could we ask them to provide us more information? We'd like to know more information about what they're doing with their care money and why it couldn't perhaps.
I would be interested in that. And I understand the care money was only a one-time deal, but I would think that if you raise $3 million from this, they couldn't find $6 million to do some upgrades. I mean, I'm sorry, 171 million is a lot of money.
And maybe it doesn't have to be 42 cents either, then. You
Right.
could use something lower or more.
Yeah.
And.
Have we reached out to the county? No?
Not in that regard.
Chief Shipman, what would happen if we tabled this tonight?
You just probably wouldn't get it to them by their meeting. I believe their meeting's March 14th. I don't know if we would, what's the meeting date in March? I don't know that you would get it to them in time for their packet in support of it.
We should have time.
We should have time.
The first meeting is the 7th?
I know they were just asking to try to get them in by the end of this week.
Well, I'm okay with tabling it and asking for additional information.
Somebody's going to have to make that motion.
I move to table the resolution relating to the 911 telephone surcharge until more information is provided by the county.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Sorry, I'm just writing the new motion out. Okay. Hammond,
Yes.
Menser,
No.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
General business, item number C, request for additional reports. Do I have a motion?
The recommended motion is not what was asked for in the memo signed by 4 commissioners, so I'm going to go back to the memo. And I move to receive in quarterly reports the Housing Commission minutes and a vacant commercial building report.
I'll second it.
So what we asked for was to receive some quarterly reports. You can still put them in the agendas and minutes like you had indicated here, but we are looking for quarterly reports on the Housing Commission. I'd like to see the minutes and what's going on there. There have been a lot of complaints about especially the Housing Commission facilities on Court Street and the trash and the furniture that's lying around. And I've heard repeatedly about dumpsters not being, emptied. And so I'd like to see some kind of a report. We used to get these on a monthly basis. So I'd like to see those come back. And on the vacant commercial buildings, the purpose of that is to see where we're at with some of the empty buildings and the empty commercial property in the city. 67 Cass, 30 years it's been vacant. The ordinance specifically asks for a plan of action when they register. I have the ordinance right here. Okay. A written comprehensive plan of action detailing a timeline for correcting violations, rehabilitation, and maintenance while abandoned and/or vacant, and future uses of the structure. Said plan of action must be updated every 6 months. We also, it also in our ordinance say that the purpose of this is to promote substantial efforts to rehabilitate such abandoned and/or vacant non-residential structures. We just like to know where we are at with some of these. And the unfortunate thing is that the report that was provided doesn't have all of the information on it. I understand that there is no fines, but we don't have a specific number of vacant commercial buildings or vacant or property. This report is not clear to me who has paid their annual fees. It says the fees have not been paid and would be moved to the fall tax, well, when will they be moved to the tax roll? How many of those are in foreclosures? How many of them submitted plans of action? And it doesn't look like only 2 out of the list that you provided from BSNA has an annual registration. So have we moved any of those to the tax rolls? And what have we done about it? And those are that's the kind of report that we're looking for. You can supplement that information, including this BSNA report, but the report as it is simply not enough information. And I wondered too, it says the fee is billed annually by the city. Have we billed any of these properties? Have we actually sent out a bill to any of these properties? And we're talking vacant commercial buildings or property.
So the bill you speak of is like the fee that we charge
Yeah,
for
for annual
continuing to be
registration.
vacant? I do believe that the bill went out, because I thought we had another list a while back that said who they went to.
Mr. Tingley should be online. Would you join us, Brian?
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, every property on the list that was provided to you, they have all been sent their initial fee amount. The ones that did not pay, they were moved to the winter taxes. So these properties that are still vacant, probably next month we'll be receiving another fee for their second year of vacancy, and that fee will go up. Remember, the fees do escalate from year to year, I believe up to $10,000. And we can certainly look at cleaning up that report. The one that was provided to you was a very simple one. We didn't spend a whole lot of time working on it, but we can certainly look at adding some additional information, working with BSNA on making that happen.
Okay, that would be great.
So there's 2 things here. One is the Housing Commission minutes, and the other is this list. And if we're talking about this list, I agree. I'd like to know more information about these buildings. You know, I'm frustrated with it. I guess we should know why Mr. Tilson's property's on here as well, if he doesn't believe it's vacant. But, so yes, I think we should have additional information.
I would clarify that the ordinance does only apply to vacant buildings, not property.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And Mr. Stilson's property was put on the letter.
The letter.
From the commissioners to the administration. It was listed. It's not listed on the list of vacant commercial
By the
buildings
city.
that the community development provided.
That would be an error. As Mr. Tingley just said, this is for buildings, and there is no building at Stilson Field.
Okay, so it would be I would like to see some additional information. I don't know what it takes to update it on a quarterly basis, but once we get the base done, it shouldn't take that much, I would think. On the Housing Commission, so I went back and I read the minutes for 2021, and I think the last meeting that was posted was in November of 21, for November 21. So no minutes have been posted since then. So quarterly or not, if that is our source, I don't know that we need it in the quarterly reports, but I looked down all the meetings, and there are no minutes basically in 2022 or the end of 21 yet for anything. So I didn't know if perhaps they're waiting till the next meeting to get them approved before you post them. Is that the idea? So the part of the problem with the minutes, quite honestly, is that they're outdated by the time we see them, right? If there's a problem going on or an issue, I mean, here, the last minutes for the Housing Commissions were November 21.
They didn't have a December meeting?
I don't know.
They usually don't.
There was nothing there.
There is the more up-to-date minutes in the packet, the draft copy, unapproved minutes is within their packet, their meeting agenda.
Okay. So, let's just go there.
packet. Okay. So I don't see anything for agenda packets. It's agendas or minutes?
Just go to agenda.
I went to agendas. Okay, so Mount Clemens. Okay.
Well,
All right, so is that what you are asking for, is the minutes? They are there.
Yeah, I'd like to see them in a quarterly report when we get everything. I don't,
So you're not asking for something beyond the minutes, you're asking just that the minutes be
compiled into a
compiled
quarterly
in one
report.
place and,
When did they post the minutes?
Okay, so what do we, is there a motion?
Well, I made the motion, it was seconded, so you can
Are there
vote
any-
on it.
Are there any other questions?
I didn't have a second.
Did you say that was the correct motion?
Pardon me?
you said it wasn't, yeah.
Oh,
She
She
changed,
said,
She
she
changed.
changed the
the
motion.
motion.
Yeah,
I would like
quarterly
to
reports.
split it. I, as long as the minutes are out there, now I know where to find them, thank you very much. I'm okay with going, if I'm interested in reading them, going and reading them. They're right there. So I don't see, I'm okay with doing that. I don't have a problem with that. On the vacant properties, I do agree that I would like to see some more information on those. So I'd like to see this split, if we're going to vote on this.
Two motions.
Commissioner Dempsey?
is it a big issue to put the housing into a quarterly meeting for everyone? I mean,
I don't get it, what's the problem?
I understand we can go out and look at any of them, but if we're doing quarterly reports anyway, and they're putting a packet together, how difficult is it to add? I don't know, and I'm asking the question, how difficult is it to add the Housing Commission?
It would not be difficult,
I mean,
but it would be the only body that we're doing that for.
it would be the same as the others, correct? I mean, you're just going to, on a quarterly, you tell us, the quarterly meetings, the quarterly information is out there. Or, am I wrong? We keep talking about quarterly minutes,
Reports.
reports.
Quarterly reports
You provide that, right?
on the
they're-
website,
On the website?
yes.
Okay, so the Housing Commission can just be added?
I'd just be making a link to the minutes.
Whichever way. I really, if it's not difficult to do that, to me, just do it.
Yeah, I don't
get it.
I don't get
It's
it.
not a big issue to me, but.
Let's take a vote.
Okay, roll call.
Menser?
Yes.
Oh, wait, we're supposed to do two separate motions.
No, we're not doing two separate
Oh,
motions.
okay.
So the
Pardon me
motion
for having
stands.
The motion stands.
Okay, the one that combines the quarterly reports.
Yes.
Okay. Menser?
Yes.
Voorhees?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Dempsey?
Yes.
Fournier?
Yes?
Hammond?
Yes.
Jesus, Brenda.
General business.
I want a
agenda
report
item.
from the reports.
Yeah, my God, we're gonna be-
General business,
They're right
agenda item D, purchases and payment of invoices as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve payment and purchase of invoices.
Second?
Support.
Any questions? Roll call?
Voorhees?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Dempsey?
Yes.
Fournier?
Yes,
Hammond?
Yes.
Menser?
Yes.
There is nothing under consent agenda, so number 11, city manager's report.
Thank you. I think most of you are aware, the Van Camp Building at the northeast corner of North Walnut and Macomb has a new owner. Joe Nahas closed on the building last week. Actually, now it's the week before because this was written last week. Mr. Nahas is planning to remove the green facade, restore the exterior, and renovate the interior. Ground floor will be restaurant retail use, and the upper floor will be residential with probably 4 lofts. The building currently has 3 approximately 1,000 square foot spaces facing Walnut and 1 approximately 2,500 square foot space facing Macomb Place. We don't know for sure that that's how it'll be split up in the future. But it gives us several new small retail/restaurant spaces, which we have a huge need for right now, because pretty much all the small spaces in Mount Clemens have been leased. There's nothing available. Across Macomb Place, the former bank building is now being actively marketed as the Grand. And their plans call for the creation of 6 Class A office suites ranging from 1,500 square feet to 7,500 square feet. We're also hearing rumors of active interest in 2 other downtown buildings as well. Unfortunately, neither of these is the Macomb Daily Building or the Victory Inn. But they are buildings that we would be very, very pleased to see occupied. And it's quite exciting what's going on downtown. Channel 7 was in town last Friday and spent several hours here interviewing businesses. They interviewed Mr. Nahas. They interviewed a lot of just people on the street about the business resurgence in Mount Clemens. So we don't know when that's going to be shown, whether it's going to be part of the news or whether it's going to be a separate segment, but they spend an awful lot of time here for something that might just be a 30 or 1 minute spot on the news. They spent about 3 hours here. Carnes Center, we held a meeting with the potential program partners at Carnes last week on February 10th. Participants included the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA Advancing Macomb, Mount Clemens Library, Mount Clemens Barracudas, LK St. Clair, TCB Youth Mentoring. The main focus on that meeting was about the concept of having multiple partners who we have agreements with to provide regularly scheduled programming, but there would be one anchor partner responsible for scheduling and managing the buildings. Much of the discussion focused on who that would be. There was a lot of discussion about possible hurt feelings where we are with the YMCA versus Boys and Girls Club, so it was offered to the YMCA, and they, a few days later, turned us down on it. So we are back to talking to Boys and Girls Club about playing that role. Water plant study is, they're actively working on it. We've had two meetings in the last couple of weeks. We've got another one on Thursday with Fishbeck and AEW. The one on Thursday also includes Great Lakes Water Authority. In order to complete the study, we need to get updated numbers for new plant construction, and we need estimates for the Great Lakes Water Authority alternative. The preliminary report already makes a very solid case for constructing a new plant as opposed to continue making repairs to our old facility. However, it did not take into account at all the alternative of purchasing water. To make an intelligent decision on such a large capital expenditure, we need to know the cost of that alternative as well. And that is definitely not a free alternative. There's a lot of capital that would be involved in making that connection, both in terms of meter pits, meters, pressure reducing valves, and probably an additional water tank, an additional above ground elevated water tank. COVID, we've got some good news on. The most recent chart, at least as of the date I wrote this, was Michigan cases were in a very steep decline. The 7-day average of new cases as of February 16th is about 15% of what it was a month before. Locally, the news is good as well. Only 8 Michigan counties have lower infection rates than Macomb, about a month before we led the state. State of Michigan has announced a relaxation of its masking guidelines. That appeared in several news media Thursday morning, but was not yet reflected on the state's webpage for coronavirus. So I don't actually have what the current guidelines are from the state. In the meantime, everyone in Macomb County age 5 or older is still eligible to receive a COVID vaccination. For more information, visit Macomb County Vaccine Central. Every home in the U.S. is eligible to receive free at-home COVID tests. You can order those through www.covidtest.gov. And as part of its Mask Up Michigan, Macomb Community Action is proud to offer free KN95 masks to Macomb County residents that need them. Masks are available for pickup at the Macomb Community Action's food pantries and community action centers. You do not need to call ahead, just stop in during hours of operation. They also extended an offer to the communities in Macomb County, and I expect that we'll be getting a supply of the KN95 masks that we can distribute here. Do not know yet when those will be here or how many we will be getting. We distributed the first draft of the marijuana map to commissioners via email. Couple little changes that it does need. One, we've got a request to reflect both 500 feet and 1,500 feet. Also, there was an error on the existing map. There's a church that got missed, and if you actually look at the map, it's got the church property itself colored as an eligible facility.
The church on church.
Yeah. And when that's not, that will not only take away the church property, the distance requirements will take away all of the nearby eligible properties.
If I could add one thing on the map, in reviewing it, I think it'd be helpful to list the parcels. I reviewed the map and it's very tough to tell. I realize black is, but it's hard to figure out, is that one parcel? Is that three parcels?
To list the eligible parcels?
Well, at some point, the commission, one of the key issues is going to be how many would this result in, how many facilities? And I think we need to know how many parcels there are to come up with that number.
We should be able to do that because there aren't that many.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate the additional information on the second map.
I've got future agendas. The only two that I want to comment on is we do have 2 strategic plannings between now and the next regular city commission meeting. Those are February 23rd and March 2nd. And if there's no objections, I will plan to do a work session on March 7th on marijuana.
Will it be a 2-hour session again?
I don't think so.
Since the main focus of it is looking at the maps and what's eligible areas, do you think you'll need 2 hours?
No.
Who knows? Will Brian be able to put those on, on the screen up here? And have them be a little bit interactive, do you think?
We can put individual maps on the screen, but they won't be interactive maps. We tried to get that, but AEW wasn't able to come up with a way to do an interactive map in the time that they had available.
Did you guys try the GIS system for the county?
Yes.
Okay. It would be nice if we could see them up big.
That we can do.
Okay.
What about an hour and a half?
Whatever you would like.
And then if you don't use it, you have time
I
back.
think we should have the
Yeah.
extra time to
More
just
than an hour.
try to get this thing done.
So let's clarify though, the workshop is simply to talk about the mapping?
I'm sure it goes into more.
Well, and to give some
Everything.
guidance, right?
Everything that we've talked about.
Right.
That we
The
wanted, I think is,
Okay.
That's the way I understand it.
It seemed like at the last work session, we were moving towards where we really needed to see the maps to decide which direction you wanted to go.
Right, to decide how many licenses,
As
if
to
you
whether
want
the
to open
maps
it up or
themselves,
whatever.
that basis, the distances and zoning would be enough, and that you wouldn't, whether or not you need to
You
limit
may not need
the
a
number of
point system
facilities.
if we leave it up to the zoning and, right, okay.
That was my understanding.
That's what I understood,
I
so.
would suggest one other thing, and that is that I believe the second reading was tabled until March the 7th.
Mhm.
And my suggestion would certainly be that that be not approved, and we start, it looks like we're going in an opposite direction. And
Right.
so we would start with a first and second reading on the new draft.
Would it be appropriate to take an action right now to pull that item off the,
I
that
think they
agenda?
can do that,
It's not on.
certainly.
It's
I don't
not
see
on
any
here yet,
reason
so.
why you can't do it tonight.
Yeah.
But, no, it's gonna be voted on. I take it back. It's tabled till the 7th.
Oh, it was a table.
For the second reading and approval.
Right,
So on the 7th, my suggestion would be that you don't approve it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that way it'll fail. And then you start with the first reading, second reading, when
Yeah.
when
Okay.
the next ordinance.
that makes
That
sense.
makes-
Okay, okay.
that makes sense.
Okay,
Anything else? That's it, thank you.
Commissioner Metzer? Just a weird and wacky thing. On the Van Camp building, I'm just wondering if the plaque that says that Mr. Van Camp is a inventor extraordinaire will remain fixed to the building, because I have seen people taking their picture by that. So I just, I believe it's a permanent fixture and it should stay on the building.
And it's
I
up
think
to
it'd be up to
first-
the new owner.
It's up to the new owner.
I bought that
What
building, it'd be coming
fixtures?
down.
Who put the plaque there?
Huh?
Where did he get the plaque?
It's a big
Oh,
brass
I know
plaque
it,
like
but
that.
who did he get it from?
I have no
He had it
idea.
done.
Pardon?
So,
He had it done, yeah.
So on the Carnes Center, you were talking about an anchor partner. When you choose that anchor partner, are we going to have a memo of understanding or a contract?
I expect we'd have a contract.
I've mentioned in the past, I think there should be a lease agreement, just like we have lease agreements presently with the library for 2 facilities. We've had lease agreements in the past with the YMCA to provide recreational services at Memorial Field, and I think it's important. The law is pretty clear that you cannot, a municipality cannot give away or allow the use of assets without something in return. And the return is to have a written agreement from an entity that it will provide services for the benefit of your residents in return for the use of the facility. And it's important that we have that. It's also important that there be one party, one entity, because from a liability standpoint, you want to have an agreement with one entity that is running that facility. What they then do in terms of other programs, other partners, if you will, they're not partners with the city, they're partners with that entity. There are some real liability concerns, Deange, and I think Mr. Saff should be consulted relative to coverage issues. If you don't do it properly, you can have situations where there is no coverage, even under our policy. So those are items that I think it's important to be looked at rather thoroughly.
Would that be similar to the agreement that Mr. Ireland signed for Wilson when he was in Wilson?
probably be more extensive than
More
that
extensive.
agreement.
So I guess my question is, because we've talked about the liability issue, and because we have all these small companies or entities who have gone out and gotten their own liability insurance, if it is important to have one anchor partner, and as long as we can keep kicking, this can down the road, why can't we make some kind of an agreement with an anchor partner right now until the Boys and Girls Clubs makes up their mind and raises the money that they think, to protect us, to protect the city, to protect these other small companies with the liability issue?
There's no prohibition. You could have a month-to-month lease with, as I understand it, Advancing Macomb is the entity basically in charge. There's nothing preventing a month-to-month lease, and the reason for a month-to-month is it would then give you the flexibility if the Boys and Girls Club decides to come in, that you could terminate that lease in very short fashion and enter into a new agreement with them.
So what do we need to do at this point? Do we need to vote and instruct administration to come up with some kind of agreement like that with the entity, perhaps Advancing Macomb?
Well, I don't know that you need to vote on anything. I think you give direction, and then there'd be an agreement drafted and brought back before you to vote upon.
It sounds like the city is looking at the YMCA, which declined, and the Boys and Girls Club. So we're waiting for an answer from the Boys and Girls Club. Is that correct, Don? And if they decline, my concern is, will the programming continue while we wait for?
But I think
An anchor
Mr.
partner.
Mintzer's question is, what do you do in the interim?
Right.
Yeah, what do we do
We
in
have
the
to
interim?
do something in the interim.
You know,
We
Boys
need to
and Girls
protect
Club
ourselves.
is months down the road, or could be
Right.
months down the road. What do you do in the interim?
Well, it's also a real possibility that the Boys and Girls Club is not going to get there, is not going to do this. So right now, if we look at TCB Youth Mentoring, because they're the ones that are using the facility a lot, Advancing Macomb's putting their offices there. I mean, it seems like those are the two primary, the library, but someone's got to take responsibility. I totally agree with you.
I think we need to look at some kind of one anchor partner agreement with probably Advancing Macomb, because they also have agreements with TCB for Sportport and all this other stuff. So I think we need to come up with a month-to-month contract to protect all of these entities that are in this building, and to protect us. And so I think that we need to come up with some kind of a written agreement on a month-to-month basis, as you stated.
I agree, but the only thing is we hope that Advancing Macomb or whoever does accepts that responsibility, because it is a responsibility to be the anchor, the leader there, even if it is month to month.
Well, we need to ask, we need to do that.
And that's the thing, the Boys and Girls Club, last we heard, is that they were interested in the high school. So then we have to look beyond.
They still are, but they are considering operating more than just the high school.
So is that do you need other direction or something?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, then my next thing is, I just wanted to make sure that on the water plant study, that Jeff and Lenny have been involved with those?
Yes.
Okay, and then my last question is, on future committee, or on future agendas, we had for quite a long time a committee to review the charter. It's no longer on here. Have you decided that we are not going to review the charter and put a committee together for that? Or you just forgot it?
No, I think it just kind of slipped off of there.
Can
Maybe
we
because
slip
it was
it
the
right
last
back
thing
on?
on a page or something like that.
Okay.
I actually had somebody at one point in time that had expressed an interest in doing it and seemed to have the qualifications to do it.
I have two other residents who have expressed interest, who would like to be on that.
If you could share those names with me, I'd appreciate it, because I lost the name of the person I had.
Amy?
You were talking about a charter review committee, correct?
Right, Right.
You realize that's a 2 to 3 year process.
Right.
It's not a charter amendment. It's a totally different process.
Well-
Because most communities, when they do that process, they are essentially looking at big changes in how the government, on a lot of occasions, Detroit, Warren, they went to ward systems. They
But-
changed their method of governance. It's not all I'm saying is it's not a simple process.
That's not the objective here. The objective here is to go through it and look for things that are outdated, that have been superseded by changes in state law, that are just really not valid anymore. We're not attempting to use this process to make any significant changes to how this
Well,
government
then why-
operates.
But you have to have people run for the Charter Commission. You have to put it on the ballot. They then have a period of time, usually a year, to try to come up with the changes. Then it goes back on the ballot. It's,
I will-
just so you know, it's not like a charter amendment. It's
Well, maybe you and
much
Mr.
more
Johnson
involved.
can talk about that. Because there's a lot of language and stuff in there that we had discussed once before that was very outdated.
Yeah, no question. It's almost an 80-year-old
Yeah.
document.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some things we should just amend versus.
Yeah,
go
there's some
through
simple
outright.
language, I think. They use the pronoun he and his and all the time. And there's no allowance for the fact that the mayor would ever be a woman. And how long were you in that role, Commissioner Dempsey? We got a female mayor now. We talked about Ada tonight. So, okay, that's the end of my questions.
Okay, we've now come to the public participation of the meeting. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Please give your name, address, and hold to the 2 minutes.
It's Ryan Theory, 62 Rosebud. Just back to talking about zoning. Originally, the original ordinance was a 1,500-foot, stipulation between dispensaries. Then the new ordinance was proposed down to 500 feet. I see that everyone seemed to agree that you guys are doing a survey of 500 feet and 1,500 feet. Probably makes sense to do 1,000 feet somewhere in between. 1,500 feet is a monopoly for 2 existing places. Jars deserves theirs. I'm not sure about Pleasantries, but the way this is they're gonna get their licenses. So if you're gonna base 1,500 feet from Jars, you cut off Rose Street, which is the only one of the light industrial areas of Mount Clemens, truly what it's meant for. 5 square block, 1,500 feet is a long area. You're really gonna, cause a monopoly. There's very, very little space. I did it. Again, I'll bring my survey in on the 5th that shows all the possible algorithms of what you can do. And 1,000 feet is what I would call fair if the city is truly looking not to get itself in another, we use the word, and the city doesn't want a lawsuit. You guys gotta be fair. You guys can't monopolize for, 2 places that are existing and most likely probably gonna get licenses. So, other than that, I just think it's, hopefully you can pass that request to the zoning department, and that way we can all take a look at 500, which is way too short. 500, you'll have 3 places that grows back, you know what I mean? 1,500, you won't hit enough. Figure out something in the middle. All right? Thank you.
Catherine Schiller, 24400 Henry B. Joy Boulevard. I have 2 things. First, regarding the marijuana, I like the idea of the map. I missed that part in the work session. When will the map be available so those of us who could see it and review it?
Would be part of the packet for the next meeting.
So it won't be available until the 7th of March?
Unless the commission directs us to make it available somehow before that.
I don't have have no problem.
I don't have any problem that it's out there earlier for people to take a look at. It might be better because then they'll have an opportunity to look at it, not the night of the meeting, and then have 100 more questions. They could look
Right.
at it ahead of time and kind of formulate. That's, I think.
Come in better educated to the work session, right?
We had a draft copy. There was an error on the draft copy. So right now, the engineers are correcting that error and also preparing it with 1,500 feet. The draft copy was based on 500.
That was the original.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that went,
Well,
It's still on the table.
Well,
That hasn't been
That's-
adopted yet.
okay. All
and
right.
that's the
So
medical
when they
marijuana
updated
ordinance,
with the error corrected,
not the new one.
you're going to post it on the website?
I can
under
post
the
it on.
agenda area?
I
or-
would, if I post it on the website in advance, I will probably do it in the agenda area. I'll just set up the
So
the
it's
next
more
couple of
public.
meetings and put it there.
And the second thing was, it took quite a while to find the housing minutes, I'll tell you. But I did, and it looks like, and I'm probably speaking to a choir, they're short 4 people. So they're at a disadvantage right now.
They're short one person right now.
Is there anyone else? Patrick? Patrick? Okay, Commissioner comments, Commissioner Hammond?
Thank you. I want to congratulate the local treasure award recipients, and also I want to go ahead and give my Black History facts for City of Mount Clemens. Now for the women. Dolores Meadows, she was a teacher. Christine Dozier, a bank employee. Frances B. Smith, a beautician. Jackie Bullock Felix, she was Macomb County Sheriff. Frances Jones Bearden, Mount Clemens Police Department and High School Liaison. Amina L. Principal. Erica Peoples, actress, and Antoinette Wallace, County Commissioner, who also lives in Mount Clemens. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Fournier?
yes, of course, I want to congratulate Vito and Ross. I mean, I can't imagine there's many people in this city that don't know who they are and haven't been some way touched by things they've done for the city or for the residents. And having known both of them for quite a while, I couldn't be more happier. They are so deserving of this award. And I would just like one other thing to request. I think Mr. Theory makes a good point. While we're at it, and while AEW is at it, they could just do 1,000 feet as well. Then we can really cover all bases. Thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
I would like to give a shout out to Martina Lascu. Martina is a Mount Clemens resident. She's a student at Macomb Community College. She created the winning logo for the August 31 Shorewood Kiwanis Harper Charity Cruise. It's an annual contest for MCC students. She won $1,000 and a $1,000 scholarship with her design of a 1959 Dodge Royal Lancer, and it will be featured on T-shirts and marketing materials. So thank you, Martina. Nice way to rep the Clem. The Mount Clemens Optimist Club is working with Lori Spooner we are looking at putting on a talent show at the high school with the students. We have been working on this for a little while. The sign-up sheets should go out shortly. We are looking for volunteers. The Optimist Club has some really good artists that help with set design, helps, move equipment around. We're hoping that we get, musical acts and dancing and, you know, it would be really nice if we could talk Ross Champion into coming back and being a clown. Maybe he and Vito can do a stand-up routine together. We have some participation from the high school, Mr. Duncan, and the principal from Seminole Elementary is looking at participating. We believe that Patrick Linneberry will be participating and helping film. So we are looking, and we have judges. Mr. Mount Clemens here, because he's always been a bather, will be one of the judges, as will Commissioner Fournier. We are looking for people who have, I don't know if you guys know Sarah Stovall. Sarah Stovall is going to be our backstage mom to help people keep, you know, calm. And we've got Christopher Spooner, who's a musician, an excellent bass player. He's going to help keep the, you know, the musicians in line and help them, you know, talk down their nerves. So we're looking for people who can do, maybe help us with sets, maybe help us, you know, backstage, moving stuff around, maybe help us painting things, who may want to do some donations, because we're hoping to put together a rehearsal, you know, night dinner for the kids. And we're working right now on transportation. This event will be at night per Mr. Duncan. He thinks the kids have lost enough time during the school day. So we're looking at what, you know, what can we do for transportation to get some of these kids home who might not have transportation otherwise. There will be a small fee, $5, that's going to go for, you know, towards prizes. And every single high school kid or Mount Clemens Public School System kid will get in free. And each kid that participates, puts on an act, will get 2 tickets to give to his girlfriend, boyfriend, grandparent, parent, whoever they choose. So if you would like to volunteer, if you know, you've done this before and you would like to help out, you know, please, you know, give the Mount Clemens Optimist Club a call, give me a call, and we could certainly use some assistance. So, thank you.
Commissioner Voorhees? Thank you, Mayor Campbell. I would just like to say a big thank you to the street department and their crew for a great job they did in clearing our streets of the snow. I just wish that the residents would pull their cars off the street before it snows. I drove down, you know, I drive all over town, and 3rd Street was like trying to get through a maze. And I'm not just picking on 3rd Street, every street has got that. So if you can get those cars off the streets, the department is more than happy to plow our roads. Once again, congratulations to Ross and Vito. Boy, those bathers always come through, don't they? I'll tell you.
Yes, they do.
And I would also like to express my deepest sympathy to the Eisenfeld family. Mayor Eisenfeld, of course, was the first female mayor for the city of Mount Clemens, and she really was a forerunner in that avenue. She appointed me to the Planning Commission when I was about probably 25, so it's been a lot of years. But just a great family. And with that, once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
It's a bather.
Yeah.
Once a bather, always a bather.
Yeah, once a bather, always a bather. Once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
I just want to, the Cracker House Museum has resurrected the Von Leslie Pottery Luncheon, and it will be held on April 2nd at Zuccaro's. So if anybody is interested in tickets, they can call the Cracker House at 586-465. Wait a minute, took my glasses off. 465-2488. We are looking to sell tickets. We have enough tables. It's a great event. It has, the Questers did the event for 20 years, and then we decided that was enough, and we handed it back to the Cracker House, which originally it started with the Cracker House, and Yvonne Leslie started it at the Recreation Center with card tables, and it bloomed to 575 people at Zuccaro's. So we've taken it over at the Cracker House, and we're coming full circle again doing it. And we hope to be able to sell enough tickets to have it. So it's April 2nd. Call the Cracker House for tickets. We'd love to see everybody. So thank you.
Okay, I too would like to say congratulations to Mr. Strolis and Mr. Champion. This was the 10th year that we have been presenting this Local Treasure Award, and as I said before, this award goes to people, not to date them or make them old, but people that have been around for decades. And they have chosen to give time and make this community better. So I do want to say thank you to the two winners again tonight. Regarding the streets, Commissioner Voorhees said, yes, it's terrible that some of these cars are left on the street, including some of them that have been turned into storage units, but that's another story. So congratulations to the street department for the excellent job they did. And with that, I'd like to call a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Great job, great
Nice
job.
job.
Meeting ends.